So the two-edged sword are the words of Jesus the first time and the Christ this time. He is the sole Yahweh that was in Jesus, all grown up to the Father, and in this incarnation he is the Christ. Verse 16, and he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. It's all to do with the genetics. He is the root of Jesse. It's all to do with the genetics, the genetic bloodline back to the root of Jesse, King David. And it's actually through Nathan, not through the evil Solomon, which everybody's claiming relationship to. It was the righteous Nathan, is the Christ bloodline. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, Come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God, reaping the flesh of men, killing all that offends. Like you're out of here, the likes of Darrell and all those who have offended the Christ. There is no forgiveness this time. It is the judgment. And this is occurring now from this day forward. Now the three pyramids, we see photographs of Giza. The red pyramid is prominent. It looks higher. It represents Adam, the blood of fallen man, while the smallest is the black pyramid, representing the blackness of the soul via religion dominated by the Jews. Go to Isaiah chapter 14, read verses 12, 13 and 14. It's all about Lucifer elevating himself above God and thinking that he is going to be equal to the Most High. The Great Pyramid had 144,000 pure white alabaster stones representing the 144,000 saints. Its capstone is missing, rejected by the masses, the red and the black, symbolic, the pyramid, symbolic of the masses. The Sphinx represents Muhammad and Islam. Muhammad confirmed Jesus was the soul of Allah the Almighty, defying Rome and their masters, the Babylonian Jews. Their numbering system 6, so we have 60 degrees, 60 minutes, 60 seconds, and a year, 6 times 60, 360 days, etc., etc. Then we have the Vicar of Christ, started in the 11th century, 666 in Latin Gematria. We have Solomon, a black witch of murder and adultery of Bathsheba and David. Solomon murdered his brother Adoniah, who should have been king. He married 700 wives and 300 concubines, all of the descendants of Lot via incest with his daughters, producing the Ammonite and Moabite, which interbred with the 10 northern tribes of Israel. Solomon received 666 talents of gold per year from his wives' kingdoms. In 722 BC, these were defeated by Syria and scattered to Europe, becoming the European nations, to be infested by Babylonian Jews via domination of the Catholic Church. Sodom and Gomorrah is the Catholic Church today. The head of Freemasonry sent a letter. This is the Italian Freemasonry. Grand Master sent a letter to Francis yesterday asking to join the Catholic Church to Freemasonry and thereby give complete control to the Jews. You all know that Freemasonry is a front for the Jews. It has Babylonian 666 numbers written in the pyramids. Getting back to the stars, the distance to Saturn, which gives off 2.42 times the energy it receives, 9.42 times the energy it receives from the sun. That's the Jesus birth total. Then on October the 12th, 2013 at 5:08, at that moment, the combined distances to the planets from the Earth was 101.69 astronomical units. That was the age of my mother. She was 101 years old, and 69 years being my age, the age of the Christ. The red pyramid was built 10.11 meters above the white, and as the capstone is missing, being the head of the Sphinx, it appears smaller. The 10.11 meters is 397.6 in pyramid inches, and that number in Hebrew from 239 is a pair of scales or balances. 3976 in Greek, ultimately from 4228, a shackle for the feet or fetter. 1011 meters is also October 11th, my mother Daphne Golightly, This year, her 101st birthday, I am 69 years old. Saturn at a distance of 10.77 astronomical units, it was over the pyramids for 38.216 hours, is the same number as the diagonal of the pyramid based on 36524.24 pyramid inches. The diagonal is 1077.26 feet. Charles I, who kicked the Jews out of England and later was beheaded, arranged by the Jews in Amsterdam via Oliver Cromwell, who was beheaded January the 30th, 1649. It occurred 107726 days before I was reborn. My mother's home, I inherited. The address 7 Trevone Street, Padstow, Australia, is 10772.6 miles to the same address in Cornwall, England. 7 Trevone Road, Padstow, Cornwall, England, where my Irish ancestors came from. I've often been asked about Atlantis. Did it exist and where was it? Well, it is Ireland. It was hit by a huge wave, killing off many people. By that time, the Irish had spread worldwide, and it's easily traced by DNA. As for the Jews who call themselves Jews and are not, are the synagogue of Satan, not one has a DNA connection to the Jews in Israel. The Palestinians do. Speaking of the Jews, you can read about the nano device in bottled drinking water, distributed by Pepsi Cola, Coca-Cola, Danone, all the water companies and various municipalities' water supplies like Chicago, Seattle, etc. Compliments of the Department of Defense run by the Jews who call themselves Jews and are not. Read it at the Scribd site there on the screen for you, where all of the documentation is pertaining to the conversation with Pope Benedict II, who announced the return of the Christ March the 12th, 2013, and has since been cut off all communication from the outside world so that news cannot get out. Also, the witnesses to the second coming, Father Giuseppe Civello, Monsignor Giovanni Rossini, both of those men, one was reported murdered, the other one is suspected murdered, and the third witness, Sister Maria della Rosa, the biographer of Pope Benedict XVI. She has been shipped out of Rome to a place unknown. It is possible she too has been murdered. Francis is the Antichrist, the biblical Antichrist. He has denied that the Christ has come in the flesh when told by him on March the 23rd at Castel Gandolfo by Pope Benedict XVI, who is the reincarnate Peter, the apostle. So he has been renamed Peter II or Petros Romanos by the Christ because he is Peter of Rome. He will take over the new church, which will be restored under the headship of the Christ, led by Benedict XVI. The faith of the faithful. He said he would return, and he has.